What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So I have got to start this video with this latest physique update from none other than the Persian wolf Hadi Chopin. So talk about having those monstrous bicep peaks. Hadi has the best out of those Olympia top 3, and this is that one area where Hadi is gonna massively expose both Derek and Samson Dauda. Now look at the striations on his chest. That is another area where he's gonna expose the hell out of Derek. And then look at the depth of his abs and his midsection. Not to mention the serratus on Hadi Chopin. That is so bonkers. And this is the area where the man is gonna literally expose everyone in this year's Olympia top 5, because the only other guy who comes to mind who have this kind of midsection, that is Andrew Jagged. So in other words, you can say that Hadi is one of the most complete bodybuilders from the front. Now we have already seen how improved his back was looking about 8 weeks out of this year's Mr. Olympia, and that too in comparison to when he was a few days out of the Olympia last year. So make no mistake, Hadi is coming in massively improved in every aspect, and he looks so ready at 6 weeks out of this year's Mr. Olympia. So rumors are that he's gonna be in the US anytime now. So if that is true, that is gonna give Hadi Chopin plenty of time to get settled in here and complete the rest of his prep on a very high note. So Hadi left the Olympia stage last year with a very bad taste in his mouth. It's a very simple fact. He could have won that show if he was on, like he was at the Arnold Ohio last year. But he simply could not replicate that same look again. Well, do not be surprised if he shows up even better than his Arnold Ohio look from last year, and he becomes the first guy ever after Jay Cutler to win the Olympia title after losing it once. But let me know what you guys think. What are your expectations from Hadi Chopin? Before you scroll or blink too hard, have you subscribed yet? Please don't make me bring out the emotional blackmail. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon. It's free, it's painless, and that makes me look way cooler than I actually am. So this 6 weeks out physique update or posing footage of Terrence and Mike Sommerfeld, that is floating all over the bodybuilding media outlets, with comparisons being made as this is the battle that we are all expecting to see at this year's classic physique Mr. Olympia. And Terrence might have poked the bear here by posting this comment and even tagging Mike Sommerfeld. Now that was a boss move, and that is definitely very funny. But on a separate note, Terrence was one of the few guys who defended Mike Sommerfeld when many of these online fans, they started commenting that Mike belongs in the 212 or in a bigger division and not in classic. So I for one am rooting for a very awesome and a great battle at this upcoming Mr. Olympia stage in 6 weeks time, and surely Terrence will be honored to go up against Mike Sommerfeld, and that too against a version of Mike which is clearly an all-time best version of him. And then it will be in the hands of the judges and who they prefer as the next king of classic physique. Now there are a few details that you simply cannot ignore. Mike has a more pronounced V-taper in that front double biceps. He has more overall width, more density, and whenever someone says that Mike belongs in a different category, it's an indirect compliment, because that comment highlights that crazy amount of density and thickness that Mike has and how well he can do even in a bigger division. And let me tell you guys something, that density could be the main factor which will give Mike an edge over all the other top competitors, including Terrence Ruffin. Now what advantage does Terrence have over Mike Sommerfeld or all these other guys? Well, first of all, he has so much better quad sweep. The outer sweeps are so damn awesome on him, and that is gonna allow Terrence to present an awesome X-frame on the stage. And he is without any shadow of a doubt one of the most classic looking guy in that Olympia top 5. And he has a very statuesque physique. Now, when they turn around, you see the back of Mike Sommerfeld. He looks lights out in the back double biceps, and it was quite apparent when he was posing next to Chris Bumstead last year at the Olympia in that final two-man call-out. And people were so shocked to even digest that Mike is seriously pushing Chris Bumstead in those back shots. And history has shown us that Mike is the only guy to beat Chris Bumstead in 2 mandatories and even the rest of the poses, they were very close. Now that being said, both these guys are in a solid condition for 6 weeks out, and this is gonna be one of the most exciting year for Classic Physique division, because this time there is no returning champion, and a lot of people, they were kind of doubtful that how Classic would do without Chris Bumstead, while the division is thriving and constantly evolving. But let me know what you guys think. Who did you guys have winning? Next up, we have a 6 weeks old physique update from the mutant Nick Walker. So weight right now is just shy of 290 pounds. So a few things have made the mutant the people's champion even before the Olympia this year. So the first was the clash with Bob Ciccarello, but he called him the 8th place guy for this upcoming Mr. Olympia. But the big one was him losing to Derek Lunsford at the Pittsburgh Pro, which over 90% of the public, they believed he should have won. And as far as I can remember, there hasn't been this kind of support behind the mutant since he started competing as a pro. So many people out there are rooting for him to win this year's Mr. Olympia, which is so wild if you think about this, because just a few months back, people were trolling him so much that he's gonna drop out of this year's Pittsburgh Pro and that he's gonna have a hard time even beating Martin Fitzwater. And just look how the tables have turned. And there is a reason why so many experts out there, they 100% think that Nick can win this year's Olympia title because he's the odd man out. The kind of freak factor and the mass that we have seen from the mutant, especially the version that is building right now and looking the freakiest he has ever looked, no one can replicate that. There is no reason to doubt that he is 100% gonna be in the mix. So the glutes are already in at 6 weeks out. And if he can come in 10 pounds heavier compared to what we saw at the Pittsburgh Pro and the New York Pro, and that too with that same kind of condition, a bare midsection, then why he would not be in the mix for this year's Olympia title? So he can become the Mark Rasul of this era, but he will be hoping to place a lot higher than Marcus did. So Nick's progress is certainly turning some heads. So let me know what is your opinion. Can the mutant win the Olympia title? So how about this physique update from the former 212 Olympia champion, Kamal at the age of 53. Now we have no idea what was the reason behind him deciding to not defend his Masters Olympia title, because initially at the start of this year, he was very solid on this idea that he's going to win that title twice. But that being said, he's still crushing it, even at his current age. So he's among those pros who openly suggest the use of the least amount of dosages and the gear and high volume of training in order to stay healthy and injury-free. And people out there do not give Kamal enough credit or mention his name when they talk about guys like Dexter Jackson, purely in terms of longevity. So Kamal has been competing since the early 2000s, and he has insane density and muscle quality. Now no disrespect to Dorian Haywood, who won the Masters Olympia title this year. But if Kamal was there, with that same 2023 physique, he would have crushed the whole competition one more time. And I personally think that the year he won his 212 Olympia title, that was back in 2019. But the physique that he presented in 2020, that was the pinnacle of Kamal's career. Although he lost the title to Sean Clarida that year, but that was his all-time best physique. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.